Over the past 30 days alone, I have spent over $1 million inside of Google for my business and for my clients' businesses across a variety of different industries, learning what works and what doesn't. In today's video, I want to walk you through how to build a campaign that actually does work. This is going to be a very simple tutorial that is going to teach you how to build out your very first campaign or how to build a campaign that just simply converts. So we are going to jump right into it. Now, you're going to have to go through and create your Google Ads account. Once you created it, you're going to be taken to a view that looks something like this. Now, chances are you probably won't see data right here. It'll be a little bit blank because it'll be a brand new account. If for whatever reason you see a different view, Google is always changing their interface. So what you're going to want to do is come up over here to the appearance and then click on, instead of use previous design, you may see a design that looks something else, click on use new design. So right now, this is the newest user interface that Google has. So if you're watching this tutorial, hopefully you can follow along because I know that's a lot of frustration that people have as they see different screens. So I will try to do my best to do the most up-to-date screens. That way, as you are building out your campaigns, you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. So once you've gotten to this point right here, now it is time to go through and create your campaign. Now, in order to create your campaign, all you need to do is come over to this left-hand button up here that says create, and we are going to create a new campaign. Now, you're going to be asked which campaign objective you want to use. Now, it's very simple on which one to use. Now, most of the time, I either go with sales or leads. Now, I go with sales when I am running e-commerce stores and I want to sell a specific product for a dollar amount. I go with the objective for leads if I'm trying to capture more leads for my business. For majority of the people who are watching this tutorial, those two objectives are probably, one of those two is the one that you're going to want to go with. Very rarely do I recommend just going for website traffic. If you are promoting an app, that's another option, of course, but awareness and consideration, very rarely do I go with that one. And then these two as well. You can create one without guidance or local store promotion, but most people, you're going to want to go with sales or leads. For this tutorial, I'm going to be running a lead campaign. So we're going to go through and click this right here. We're going to hit got this. It's then going to ask us for a conversion goal to improve leads. If you don't have something right here, that's totally fine. So we're going to go through and hit continue here. And now Google is going to ask which campaign type it wants us to use. Now, you can see here, it gives us a lot of different options. For most people out there, the most effective way and the one that most advertisers use by far is this search campaign type. And what this is basically creating ads that look something like this. When I Google Nike, we're going to be creating an ad that looks something like this. We're not creating up here. These are shopping ads. So if you went with that objective, you'd be like running something over here. I have a tutorial on how to run shopping ads. If you're interested in that, you can check that up above. But for this one, we are going to be running search ads. Then it is going to ask how we want to reach our goal. For us, we're going to be sending to a lead form. So we want website visits is the main thing that we are trying to accomplish here. And it's going to ask for our website. So we're just going to go through and give them that right there. You can do phone calls or store visits. For most people though, it's going to be website visits is how you're basically creating an ad that is going to send them to your website or landing page. Here you can go through and give your campaign a name. Now with the campaign, you can honestly name this whatever you would like, but what I typically like to do is name the campaign type. Or the campaign type here. So search is the first thing that I put in here. The next thing is kind of the targeting that I'm going to be using. So this is going to be targeting terms around marketing agency. And then the last thing that I like to do is the location. So we're going to be targeting people who are looking for a marketing agency in Nevada specifically. So if I was targeting all of US, I would put US here, or whatever country or state you were targeting, you can go through and put that in there. That's just how I like to stay organized, but do whatever you'd like in this campaign name. So now we're going to go through and hit continue here. Now we're going to be asked which bidding strategy we want to use. Now, chances are if this is a brand new account, you don't have a lot of data inside of your account. And so what I'm going to recommend is that you start off with a click bidding strategy. This is the best way to start collecting data, and then gradually you can start making your way towards optimizing towards conversions. But most of the people, if you're just getting started, start optimizing towards clicks. You can set a maximum cost per click bid limit. So say that you didn't want to spend any more than $1.50, $1.40 or 14 cents, $1.45 per click. You can go through and set that inside of there. Do know that Google sometimes will bid a little bit more and a little bit less on that limit there, but you can go through and set that. Generally, when I don't know my cost per click, I will leave this empty to kind of get an idea of and collect data on what is a competitive bid in the market, and then I will come back and set this bid at a later time. So we're going to leave this open for now, and we're going to leave this box unchecked as well. So we're going to hit next here. And now Google is going to try to trick you to spend a little bit more money here. This is, as you can see, these are default checked here, the search network and the display network. These are basically two different networks that aren't Google search. They're showing up on different placements, and they're not usually lesser quality traffic and a good way to waste money. So I would recommend opting out of both of these networks right here. If you want to learn more about the search partners, you can click right here. But we're going to now go down to the locations. Now this is where you can go through and target a specific location. You can do all countries and territories, which I don't recommend because chances are your ads will be written in one language and it just won't convert well, obviously. And you want to be targeting specific locations. You can target United States or another location here. And in my case, because I don't want to target as broad as the United States, I just want to target Nevada. What I can do here is enter another location, and then we can just go through and type in the place that we are wanting to target here. And you can see here is Nevada, and we can go through and target that. Now, what's cool about this as well is you can go through and exclude specific locations if you wanted to, and you can even do radiuses around your location if you want to do that. So you can see a radius 20 miles around, let's say Las Vegas. I can go through and target that and just do that area. If you're like a local service provider, that's something that's really helpful to know about. But for me, I'm just going to be sticking to all of Nevada area. Also under here, we do want to be targeting people who are regularly in your target location. Now, I generally recommend doing present in your actual location. The reason for this being is if people are interested in, say, Las Vegas or the Las Vegas game, the football game that's going on, your ads could be showing to those people even if they're not located in the Nevada area. Opting into this presence, people regularly in your target location, is generally what I like to do because I like to know that those people are actually local in that area if I'm wanting to target that specific geo. Next, we have the languages here. So you can go through and adjust this as you need. And then as we scroll down here, you can see there are the broad match keyword options. If you are just beginning off, I do recommend checking this, leaving this off. You can see we don't even have the option to run a broad match keyword strategy because we are optimizing towards clicks. They only let you do that with change this over for your entire campaign if you're running towards conversions. Now, if you aren't sure what keyword match types are, don't worry, I'll be explaining that and what that means and which options you should be going with later on in the video to kind of simplify the process. But at this stage, I would just recommend checking this as off. And then here as well, automatically create assets. This is where Google can go through and create anything to show to your customers inside of the ads. And generally in my experience, it hasn't converted very well. And sometimes it shows some really kind of funny stuff. So I recommend keeping this off as well. You can see there are some more settings here if you wanted to go through and change those up. Generally, I don't recommend touching any of these to begin with, unless you had start and end dates in mind, or if you had an ad schedule that you wanted to adjust. Say that if you're running leads for a local business and you only want to be showing during business hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you could go through and adjust that right here. But we're going to go through and now hit next here. Now in this next part, this is actually something new inside of Google that I think is actually really helpful. This is a great way to jumpstart your ad creative and also what keywords you should be bidding on. Now, I wouldn't leave everything up to Google in this spot, obviously, but this is a good way to go through and generate ideas. So here, what we want to do is go through and first name our ad group. So we're just going to call this marketing agency, just a group of whatever you are wanting to kind of go through and bid on. And then here you can go through and select keywords, or you can see help me create my ads right here. So you can either go through and add, if you know the keywords you're wanting to bid on, you can go through and create them yourselves, or have the ad help you create those. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how this works. You can see it already took my URL here, and then it took a description from my website. So I can go through here and click help me create my ads. And you can see once I clicked that, it automatically went through and generated a lot of different stuff for me right from the beginning. So it went through and gave me some keywords that I can possibly go through and bid on. So this gives you like a great starting point, but obviously you'll want to go through and add any more keywords in here that you're wanting to show up for. Now, I did mention just a little bit ago about the keyword match types. You can see here that these are the different keyword match types that you can control. You either have a broad match, a phrase match, or an exact match. Now, if you aren't sure with what that means or what these do, basically here's how it breaks down. If you're running broad match, ads may show on queries that are related to your keyword. So if you're bidding on home decor, you could show up for cream colored leather sectional. So very, very broad, just as it sounds like. If you run phrase match, ads may show on search terms that include meaning of your keyword. So if you're running the keyword cheap furniture stores, you could also be showing up for living room furniture deals. What store is the best place to find bedrooms? And then finally, you have exact match here, which is exactly what it sounds like. You can show up for ads on searches that are the same meaning as your keyword, basically getting as close to what you actually want to show up for as possible. Now, if you are just beginning and you are not sure which keyword match type to run, my suggestion is to go with the kind of Goldilocks match type, as I like to call it, and run with a phrase match keyword match type. And as it shows down here, to change these into a phrase match type, what you're going to want to do is just simply put parentheses or these parentheses or quotations in front of and in back of each of your keywords. So I'm going to quickly go through and do that here. Now, as you can see, our keywords are now in a phrase match type. And if I wanted to do exact, then I would go through and do the brackets before and after each one of them. If you wanted them to stay broad, then you wouldn't put any symbols basically before or after those keywords inside of there. So now we have our keywords all done. Like I said, be sure you go through and add more keywords as you would need. And then now we can actually come to our ad creation here. And what's nice is Google actually went through and created this ad for us, but we want to go through and give this a look over to make sure everything looks okay. One thing here, you can see I'm getting a little error. You do want to make sure that your final URL has the HTTPS here. So we're going to go through and add that, and then that should get rid of that little error here. So that's where we are sending the traffic to. So basically somebody's going to go through and search for one of these keywords in Nevada area. We are going to show up when they click. We're going to send them to this final URL. Here's a preview of what the ad will look like. If you wanted to go through and preview the ad for different copy, you could go through and kind of skim through this, and it will mix and match all of the different headlines on that Google has generated for us. And as you can see, because Google did generate this for us, we do have an excellent ad score, and it kind of gives you the criteria for coming up with an excellent ad strength. You add headlines, include popular keywords, make headlines unique, and make your descriptions unique as well. So Google went through and did that for us, but I'm going to go through and just give this a look over. Like, I don't offer a free trial, so this isn't something that I would want on there. So I would go through and actually delete that. I think the rest of these look pretty good. There's a nice mixture of different call to actions inside of here and features and benefits that people have. And then of course it has the brand name inside of there. So that's kind of the makeup of these ads. They do need to be under 30 characters. You can see if you go through and type something that is over 30 characters, it will turn red and tell you that the value is too long. So keep that in mind. All of these headlines need to be 30 characters. And you may be asking yourself at this point, well, why are there 15 headlines if you can only see 2 or 3 at a time? The answer is Google will go through and test these headlines in different orders to see which one is going to perform best for your specific business, given your customer base. So you want to give them as many headlines as possible. If for whatever reason there's a headline that you want to show up on the first position no matter what, like say I always wanted my brand name to show up on the very first position, I can click on this little pin right here, and then I click on show position 1 only, and then every single time all of the ads here, you see it will go through an update, will only show ZoCo marketing as the very first headline, and then it will test all the different headlines after that. Now you'll probably notice once I did that, Google gave my ad strength a lower score, and a lot of times this is the case. Google likes to have all of the control, and they'll give you a bad score if you do things not their way. But I have found that sometimes mixing things up and pinning some of these is a better way to go. But if you're just getting started off to get good data, I would probably recommend leaving all of these unpinned just like this, and then you can see that ad strength will go back up. It's interesting it's that good now for whatever reason. You can see this is kind of a new thing that Google is doing, so there still are some weird bugs like that. Now we're going to scroll down over to the descriptions. And same thing with the descriptions. They went through and wrote a couple for us, which I think is really good. Many business owners feel lost when it comes to online marketing. I'm just going to go through and edit these real quick and then add. You can add up to 4 descriptions, and these are 90 characters or more. And this is what shows up on the bottom right here. So I'm going to go through and add a couple more here, and we'll see what our ad looks like at the end. And down here, it is going to ask us to go through and add our business name. So we're just going to simply go through and type that in here, just like that, and then hit apply. So go through and put whatever your business name is, and then it will ask for a logo as well. So we're going to go through and find a logo here. So we can go through and grab that right there and hit save, and then apply. And then you can see that what that will do is it will add our little logo here in the top left-hand circle right there. And another thing that is very effective when it comes to Google Ads is adding something called site link extensions. These are, when we come back here to this Nike example, these are these little links right here underneath the ad. Now, the reason why these are awesome is because, one, they take up more results when people are searching, so it takes up more space, so your ad's going to take up more space, but also it allows users to navigate to specific pages on your website. So you can see here, Nike has the Nike Air Force One or Nike new releases. If I didn't want to go directly to their store, I could just go to the Nike new releases directly from this ad. So we want to go through and set those up for our ads as well. So what we're going to do here is we are going to click on new site link extensions. And Google sometimes will go through and give you suggestions here, but we're actually going to go through and create some new ones. And generally with these site link extensions, an easy way to go through and do these is just take your navigation here and use those as your extension. So if I wanted to send people to the blog, I could click on this, come back over here, and then have this be blog, and then just type in the final, or put the final URL in there. and then go through and hit save. So I'm going to go through and do that for my blog, content, about, and shop navigation up here. Okay, so now we got all those site link extensions all created here. So now we're gonna go through and hit save. And now you can see we have those all added, and then it will give you kind of a preview of what those may look like on the bottom here. And I know that we're going through a lot in this tutorial. So if you are getting a little bit overwhelmed, don't worry. I have created like this little Google Ads cheat sheet here. And what this is basically just like a little cheat sheet that you can go through and reference as you are going through and creating your own Google Ads campaign for best practices. And it even has a little bit more advanced tips that I didn't cover inside of this video inside of here. So if you want to get a copy of that, you can check out the link down below in the description to get your Google Ads cheat sheet, basically, for when you are going through and setting up things like these site links and best practices. And then now we can go through and add these call out extensions, what's called call out extensions. And here you can go through and hit create new. And basically these are things just like calling out what your business, good things about your business, basically. So as you can see, I just went through and added a few different call outs here, and they go through and get, these can sometimes show up on the bottom of the ad. So hundreds of happy customers, free consultations, 10+ years experience, Google Ads experts. So we can go through and save that. And now you can start seeing we are getting a really good ad all built out and ready to go through and start getting customers, basically. Now there are more asset types here, as you can see on the bottom, but for majority of people, the structured snippet, the site link extension and the call out extension are going to be the two that are going to be the most used and probably the only ones that you're going to need. There are some more advanced ones down here. If you wanted to check those out, you could, but we're going to keep this as simple as possible and run with the site link and call out extensions. Those are the ones that work the best, to be honest. And now we can go through and hit the next button here. And now it is time to actually go through and set our budget inside of Google. Now, what's nice is Google kind of has this, obviously they have a lot of data, and so they will go through and recommend a budget for you. Now, I will stress that this is only a recommendation and take it just at that value. But this does give you a baseline to know how much you possibly should start spending. So if you aren't sure at all, then you can start with what Google recommends, or you can set a custom budget down here and go through and say, instead of $15, maybe say I wanted to spend $50 a day based on the research that I've done. Or you can do the recommended or a little bit more, a little bit less. For this one, we'll stay at the recommended amount for the time being, and then we'll go through and hit next. Well, I do want to call it, it will give you a kind of a forecast of how many clicks you might get, the average CPC and the weekly cost here. But once again, these are just forecasts. So take that for what it's worth when you are looking at these. So now we can go through and hit next here. And then it is going to take a minute to go through and create this new campaign. And a lot of times what I find with this is just as a heads up, it gets stuck on this page for whatever reason. This is some sort of bug inside of Google. So I usually give this a minute. If it keeps scrolling like this for checking for errors, go through and give this a refresh. So I'm going to pause. We're going to wait for a minute and I'll let you know if it works or not. Okay, it always does this. So I give it a second, but it's still not working, checking for errors. So we're gonna go through and refresh this page here. And it's probably gonna make us go through and put in the budget one more time, and then it will work. So if this happens to you, just know that it happens to everybody. If it didn't happen to you, then congrats. But we're gonna let this load back in here. And you can see now our campaign is ready to publish, but it's saying, hey, you need to go through and do your budget again here. So now we're gonna go through and give it back that like $12.55 budget. So then we hit next here. So now we can go through and finally publish this campaign. You will want to go through and just give this a quick glance over to make sure that everything looks proper on how you want it. Then we can go through publish here. And now you will see a view that looks something like this. Your ad groups are under review, so it may take 1 to 2 days to go through and be processed. However, in my experience, this is usually actually just in a couple of hours. Your ads will either be approved or not approved to go through and start running. But this tutorial isn't over yet, because I do want to show you common things to look for after your campaign has launched, and actually go into a real account that has some data so you can kind of see what is going on there. So what we're going to do here is actually have a campaign that was running before inside of here. This one that we just created was kind of just a dummy one. So I'm going to come over here. Now, the first thing is, if you did want to pause the campaign that you were previously running, you can go through and pause it just right here. So you can go through and pause that like this. And as you can see here, this is what this will kind of look like. So you can see you have your pause campaigns. If for whatever reason you don't see all of your campaigns here, there is a filter up here where you can go see all the campaigns, or you can do just the enabled ones. So we can come over here to campaigns and then just do enabled campaigns. And then you'll see right now it's showing the overview. If I wanted to see, of course it's going to load nice and slow. If I wanted to see all of my campaigns and which ones are running, I can come over here to this campaigns tab and then click on this right here. And we are in the campaigns tab in this left hand. I know it's kind of confusing. You have the campaigns and then campaigns over here. Now, some of the things that I want you to look for after your campaign starts collecting some data is that you are going to want to click inside of here and look at the ad groups, make sure that those are all running well, but then actually click inside of here and then look at the keywords. Now, these are keywords that we're actually just running to one of my blogs that I do have. And the biggest thing that you're going to want to check is the search terms to make sure that you're actually showing up for things that are relevant to what you're bidding on. So you can see here, I have a blog that goes for like the best electric fireplaces. And so I'm bidding on things like that. So I want to click inside of here and then view those search terms. And what this allows you to do is to see what you're actually showing up for. So you want to go through this list and make sure there aren't anything that's you're basically wasting ad spend on. Or if there is a keyword inside of here that's spending a lot of money but not converting, then you can go through and pause that inside of the account. Now, the next thing here is I do want to show you this overview tab. This is really helpful for getting a high level overview of how your account is performing. So you can go through and you can see how much you've spent, your clicks, your costs. If you have conversion tracking set up, you can see your cost per conversion. You see the ads that are currently running, the summary of keywords that are performing well and their click-through rate, conversion rate, the gender and age of what is working. And let's say that I found that, a lot of these are in the 60 to 65. And then as we scroll down, this also shows you your performance by day, hour, and then also the mobile performance here, which is really helpful. And the last tab that I do want to show you here is this recommendations tab from Google. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this recommendations tab, just to be honest with you. A lot of times Google will recommend things that are designed to get you to waste a lot of money, but I would encourage you to come in here every once in a while and see what Google is recommending, but always with the lens of, is Google trying to get me to spend more money? If it feels like that, then don't opt into these different things. But if there's a recommendation that makes sense, then you can go through and do that. For instance, if we look over here, it's recommending some keywords for me. So I can go through and view these keywords and see if any of them are relevant to my campaigns that I can go through and add. And I really like this one, electric fireplace insert. This would be a great one for me to go through and add to my campaign. So I can go through and click on that and it'll apply and it will be added to that. You can see here, electric log set. That isn't one that necessarily does is what I'm looking for. Electric wood stove, no. Quality electric fireplace. That's one that we could go through and add. So 3 of these I do, and 3 of these I don't want to add, and 2 of them I do. I can go through and change the match types here. We can apply, and then that will go through and add that to my my account. And you can see here it gives me like a score based on how you are doing inside of Google. So use these at your own discretion. Don't just take Google's word for it that it's going to improve the performance of your account. Generally, what it's meant to do is to get you to spend more money. But as I mentioned before, if you are interested in optimizations after your account has launched, I have a full section on this, the step 4 here, that you can go through and use this cheat sheet. So be sure to check that out on your way out of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.